This is the best way to package, label, and ship out your products to customers.
All of this without eating into your hard-earned profits.
Starting with the supplies, this is everything you're going to need. And by far the two most important things here are your box and shipping labels. What you pay for these two determines what you need to charge customers for shipping. And obviously, Amazon shoppers hate paying for shipping. So to avoid losing a potential customer to one of your competitors, you want to try to keep these two costs as low as possible. And that's exactly what I'm going to show you how to do in this video, starting right here with the box.
Typically, the bigger the box, the more expensive it is to ship, which is why you want to find the smallest possible box that your product can fit in. So if we're using our product here as an example, we can record all three sides to get our length, width, and height. But of course, this is just the product size and not the actual box size that we're going to need. So it's always a good idea to add an extra 1 or 2 inches to each of your sides, just so you're not having to cram it in and potentially damage the product. Now, with your minimum box dimensions, you can use a site like Uline to see what type of boxes are out there and how much they're going to cost. So here I'll add our dimensions 12, 11, 5 and click search. And then over on the right-hand side, we can start to look at all the different boxes that we could potentially buy. But one thing I want to call note too is the strength of the boxes. So this will depend on the weight of your product. So as you can see here, anything under 30 or 40 pounds, we can use the lightweight or the regular boxes, and upwards of 275 pounds, we have to go for a more heavy duty box. So if you don't know the weight of your product, you can just use a basic food scale like the one I have here. But in our case, because we're well under 30 pounds, we're able to freely choose from the lightweight or the regular box. And really the only difference here is that the regular box is made out of much thicker paper, which means it's going to hold up a lot better during shipping, and it's going to be less prone to, being crushed during the delivery. So to help avoid costly returns due to shipping damage, I'd highly recommend sticking with the regular box. So now we can actually just look through these boxes now and see which one is going to be the most cost effective. And if we're just looking at prices, then this one in red appears to be our best option. However, if you take a closer look at the dimensions and compare it to the one right above, you can see that it's smaller in length, but it's actually bigger in width and height, which means it's going to take up slightly more space in the back of a shipping truck. Now remember earlier when I said, typically the bigger the box, the more expensive it is to ship. Well, at least in this case, that's actually not true. Not only is it cheaper to buy this larger box, but it actually has identical shipping rates compared to the smaller one. And I was able to confirm this by using a site like Pirate Ship, which is a free platform that allows you to quickly compare discounted shipping rates. And no, we don't have any affiliation with them. We just think it's a really great resource that everyone should know about. So they have this really cool zone map tool where basically you just add in your own zip code, which is where you're going to be shipping your products from. And because we're located in Austin, I'll go ahead and add ours. And then you basically just select any area to get that zip code. So I'll just choose a random one here. But then now copy and paste the zip code, and we're going to use another one of Pirate Ship's tool, and that is their shipping rate calculator. Here, after you add in both zip codes in the to and from, you want to go ahead and enter your weights and dimensions of your packaging. And remember, this is the Uline packaging here. So I'll add 12, 12, and 6. And then click see shipping rates. Now I already went ahead and did this for that larger box size as well. So I'm just gonna split my screen here, and that way we can see the comparable shipping rates. But what's interesting here, as you'll notice, despite being bigger, across the board, the shipping rates are the exact same for the slightly larger box. This is why it's really important to compare all of your options, even if a box might be slightly bigger. So now with this cheaper yet slightly larger box, let's head back over to Uline and add them to our cart. And because I see the prices are the exact same, regardless of how much we buy, I'm just gonna stick with 25 to keep it simple for this example, but then go ahead and click view and add to cart. Now, it's really important to understand that even though it says 93 cents here per box, you still actually will have to pay for shipping as well as sales tax. So for example here, if we click checkout, we'll see the shipping rate on the next page. So I'm actually just gonna select where we're shipping to, our office in Austin. And right here, we see our shipping rate of $13. But clicking continue then on this next page will show you the sales tax as well. So we're looking at a total of $39.38. And if we take that number and divide it by the number of boxes we bought, which is 25, that's gonna be $1.57 per box. And honestly, that's not that bad of a deal. But what if I told you we could actually get this price all the way down to just $0. Well, at least in the US, most of the major shipping carriers will just give you free boxes. The only exception is these are branded boxes, so you will have to use their shipping services. For example, USPS offers 5 different shipping services, but if you want their free boxes, you must use the second one called Priority Mail. This will guarantee a 1 to 3 day delivery window for your customers, and the best part is it's flat rate pricing, which means you can ship packages up to 70 pounds to any US state at the exact same price. All you need to do is figure out what size box you need, and then you either order them online or pick them up from your local store. So in the case for our product, these were our minimum dimensions. And while we do pass the length and width requirements for medium box number 2 here, unfortunately, we're just a little bit too tall, so we're gonna have to use the large box instead. However, this is actually the exact same dimensions we would have bought over on Uline anyways. But now let's head back over to Pirate Ship and compare whether it's actually cheaper to ship with the free branded box versus the unbranded box that we can get from Uline. Also, if you're getting any value from this video so far, please let us know by hitting the like button down below. So here we got a split screen using the same zip codes, and the only thing that's different is on the right side, I selected USPS from the drop-down menu. This will only show us USPS flat rate options. But remember, we can only use this large flat rate box, which is going for $19.90 with an expected delivery date of December 4th if we ship it out today. And just for reference, today is December 1st. So including Sunday, that's a 3-day shipping window. Now let's go ahead and compare this price and the shipping speed with the unbranded box that we can get from Uline, which again will cost us $1.57 per box. And because it is unbranded, we're able to choose from any of these shipping services. However, these first two are pretty slow shipping times, so to make this a fair comparison, let's match it with the same delivery date, which is actually the exact same shipping service, Priority Mail. So adding $13.89 for 3-day shipping, plus our $1.57 Uline box, that's gonna give us a box total of $15.46, which is about $4 cheaper than the USPS flat rate option, which again, we got that box for free. However, this is just one scenario using one zip code that was actually pretty close to us. But what happens if we go back to Zone Map tool and this time select a different zip code from an area that's actually further away? Now again, flat rate pricing means we can send to anywhere in the US at the exact same price. So this new example here with the new zip code will only affect the price for the unbranded Uline box on the left side. So with this new zip code added here, the comparable shipping service is now basically $23. This is already much higher than the flat rate price, but then again, you get to add in the $1.57 for the Uline box that we need to get. So as you can see, unless we're shipping to someone that's relatively close, so like a few states away from us here in Austin, Texas, then it would make more sense for us to use the flat rate box that we can actually get for free. This is why I would strongly recommend ordering both sets of boxes. That's the unbranded ones from Uline and the free ones that you can get from a carrier like USPS. This way, whenever you get an order, you're able to compare and choose which one that is less expensive and more profitable for you. But before orders start coming in, you first want to make sure that you properly set up your shipping template inside of Seller Central. This is where you're able to set your shipping rates depending on the area that the customer orders from. So let me show you how to set this up. All you need to do is head over to shipping settings. But before diving into the template, it's important to configure your general shipping settings. So first, just make sure that your address is updated. If it's not, just select edit and then add your new address in. Now, once that's all filled in, the next thing you want to edit is your fulfillment settings. So on this next page here, basically you're just selecting which days of the week you're willing to work. And by default, Monday through Friday are considered mandatory operating days. So unless you were to change this, you don't actually need to worry about fulfilling your orders over the weekend. However, if you do decide to work on the weekends, then shoppers will see a faster estimated delivery date, which could end up being the deciding factor on whether or not they buy from you. Underneath this section here is the order cutoff times for each of the operating days you selected above. And to put it simply, each order you receive before this order cutoff time is expected to be packed and shipped within 1 to 2 days or whatever handling time you select. And don't worry, coming up here in a second, I'll show you exactly how to select your handling time. But because it takes some time to just manually pack, label, and ship out each order, you want to give yourself as much time as possible by choosing this earlier option, which for us is 2 p.m. Also, another thing to keep in mind is that you'll most likely be using a local postal service like USPS, for example. So if that's the case for you, just make sure to check when they close each day. That way you actually have enough time to drop off your package after that last order of the day comes in. Then once you're happy with all your settings, go ahead and click save. Now coming back here, the last thing you want to edit is your handling time. Essentially, whenever someone places an order, this is how long it takes you to pack, label, and hand that package over to your shipping carrier. And again, the faster you can do this, the better. So if you can do a same-day turnaround, that's awesome. Otherwise, a one-day turnaround is also fine as well. Now, something to consider is if you have a lot of different products and you need different handling times, this is actually a default handling time for your entire catalog, meaning this will apply to all the products you sell. So to change the handling time for individual products only, all you need to do is head over to your managed inventory. And then from here, find your product and click edit. Then just scroll all the way down to the handling time section and simply enter the number of days you need for this product. And it can actually be more than 2 if you need so. But now coming back over here to your shipping settings, you can also enter something called a order handling capacity. Basically, this just allows you to set the maximum number of orders that you can reliably ship out each day. And once this limit is reached, your handling time will be bumped up by 1 business day. For example, say your handling time is set to same day and your capacity is set to 20. Well, if one day you get 25 orders, then those last 5 orders would be given an extra day of handling time. So in that case, you'd go from same day to 1 day handling. Does that make sense? Awesome. So I'd recommend setting this number to however much you think you can do in a single day. That way you're not going to be overwhelmed by a surge of orders that may result in delayed shipments and unhappy customers. But okay, now that your shipping settings are all filled out, we can now go in and fill out our shipping template here. So to do this, just click on create a new shipping template and then click OK. Now this first step here, it is technically optional. It's called the shipping setting automation, and you can actually just cancel out of it if you want, but here's why I strongly recommend enabling this feature. When it's not enabled, you need to come down here and manually estimate how long it's going to take carriers to deliver your product to the customer. This is known as transit time. And as you can see, for all these regions, we're able to choose how long we think we can deliver to them. So for example here, we live in Texas, so I think we can get it there in 2 to 3 days. However, we can probably get it there in 1 or 2 days, versus all these other regions where we might need at minimum 2 to 4 days, especially if we're using USPS shipping. Like I said earlier, it's going to be a 1 to 3 day delivery window. So I feel confident in that. But if we ever need to use another service outside of USPS, then it might make more sense for us to guarantee a 4 or even a 5 day delivery window. And this is the issue with estimating your own transit times manually, because sometimes you can actually get the product to certain areas much faster. But if your transit time is only showing 3 days instead of maybe like 1 or 2 that it will actually take to get there, then your offer will look less attractive to customers. So by enabling shipping setting automation, Amazon will automatically calculate transit times for you. And they can do this because they have the most recent data on how long it's taking these carriers to deliver products to and from each part of the country. Also, there's another reason alone why I'd recommend enabling this feature. So say Amazon tells the customer that they can expect their package on a Tuesday, but for some reason it's delayed and arrives on a later date. Well, because Amazon controlled the transit time, the blame will fall solely on them and not you. And this is huge because if you don't have this enabled and your product gets delivered late, then you will end up getting a strike on your account health. And so if you get too many of these strikes, you could end up being suspended from selling on Amazon. Also, when enabled, Amazon will shield you from any potential negative feedback that you get due to late deliveries. So to turn on this feature, you first have to select where you're shipping from, and this should be the exact same location or the address that you added in the previous step. Now for the second screen here, you can just click next unless you're in the Seller Fulfilled Prime program. Just a quick note on this, Seller Fulfilled Prime is a program that allows you to display the Amazon Prime badge on your listing. And this program was actually suspended in 2020, but after 3 years, they recently opened it up again for new sellers. Now there are some pretty strict requirements to join, so if you want to learn more, you should check out this full guide that we have that covers everything you need to know about this program. And now here on this next screen, this is where you need to select the shipping services that you want to use to fulfill your orders. And just keep in mind to only select the services that you can use. Now to find out which ones those are, you can simply head back over to Pirate Ship. So here I can just scroll down and make sure you just keep open this box or rigid packaging option. That way you can see all the available services that you could use. So UPS Ground Saver, USPS Ground Advantage Cubic, Priority Mail, these are all ones that I could use. So I'll just head back over to Amazon and select those here. After you do this, now you have to choose which shipping services you want Amazon to prioritize when they're calculating the estimated delivery time for customers. So you have 3 options here. You can choose basically like rules. So you can choose shipping services based on a weight, region, or price. So I can say if it's over maybe like 5 pounds, choose this shipping services, UPS ground for some reason. You can do the same thing for region and price as well. You can set these rules and you can actually do 2 at the same time. What I like to do is the second one, which is to choose the cheapest option for me, which is going to be the longest delivery option. So this is the most simple way of doing it. However, your customer will see a slightly longer shipping time estimate. So if you want, you can actually choose this third option and actually just prioritize them. So I think priority mail will be the best for the customer. And then Ground Advantage Cubic might be the most cost effective. So I'm gonna put that right in the middle, but feel free to change this however you want. You might even have a lot bigger list than what I have here. And then on this next screen here, this is really only relevant if you wanna offer 1 or 2 day shipping. And honestly, if you're just starting out, I wouldn't recommend doing this because unless your product is super small and lightweight, it's going to get pretty expensive. Plus, as we saw earlier with USPS, priority mail has a 1 to 3 delivery window anyways. And even with Ground Advantage, you could potentially get it there in as little as 2 or 3 days as well. And for most shoppers, this is all they need. So I really wouldn't worry about breaking the bank by guaranteeing a 1 or 2 day delivery window. So now on this next screen, just review that everything is correct and then click confirm. And this will bring you back to this page here where you can now enter a name for your shipping template. And below that is the rate model. So there's 2 options here. You can charge by the product and by the weight of that product. And the second option here lets you charge by the total price that the customer will pay. For me at least, I think it makes more sense to price based on the product and the weight. So I'm just gonna keep it here for now. And now scrolling down, we can start to adjust our shipping prices based on the shipping speed. But remember, we don't want to guarantee 1 or 2 day delivery, so we can actually disable those options down here. Also, to clean it up even more, I'm going to disable this free economy option since I'm already offering free shipping in the standard shipping over here. To be competitive with other Amazon sellers, it is a good strategy to always offer at least 1 free shipping option to US customers or whatever country you're selling in. Remember, Amazon shoppers hate paying for shipping, so if you have to, it's actually better to slightly increase your product price just a little bit versus having to charge an insane amount for shipping. However, at least with these shipping regions here, it does actually make more sense to charge shipping since, going to Alaska and Hawaii and Puerto Rico will be slightly more expensive for you. So how much should you be charging for these regions here? Well, to figure that out, you can actually just head back over to the pirate ship zone map. Now you should do this for each region, but just for this example, I'm gonna do it for Hawaii. Once you have that area selected, you can go ahead and just copy and paste that zip code back over to the calculator. And then down below, we can see here that it's gonna end up costing us anywhere from $13 to $26, with the only difference being that the $26 option could get it there just 1 day earlier. Because we're just doing this for Hawaii orders, I actually would feel fine using that cheaper option. So heading back over to the template, you can separate each region by clicking edit and then deselecting it from the list. Then you simply just add it back in. That way you can give it its own shipping rate, which in this case for us will be $13. Now with standard shipping, you can really only do this for Hawaii, Alaska, and Puerto Rico. But with expedited shipping, you're actually able to fully customize all of your rates as well as the individual transit times for each individual state. So why is this important? Well, because there are actually some customers that will only consider buying from you if they can get the product within 1 to 3 days, which means here in our case, instead of using the cheapest option, we'll need to use USPS priority mail since that does guarantee a 1 to 3 day delivery. And again, for our product, the flat rate price is $19.90, which includes the free box. However, instead of just charging every state $20, I'm sure we could actually ship it cheaper to some of the states that are closer to us and still get it there within 1 to 3 days. So to confirm that, you can head back over to the zone map tool and run a few calculations for each of these zones here. So for example, let's see what it will cost us in Texas to ship to Florida, which is zone 5. I'm just gonna copy that zip code and then add it back over to the calculator. And now all we're trying to see is whether or not we can ship it to Florida within 3 days and cheaper than the flat rate price of $19.90. And just like this, it does look like we can do that on time if we use the USPS priority option, and it would be cheaper using our own unbranded boxes from Uline. Now again, you can do this for each individual zone, and really all you're trying to do is calculate how much it will cost you for 1 to 3 day shipping and whether or not it makes more sense to use the USPS flat rate option versus the unbranded Uline box. As you're figuring all of this out, you can swap back over to the shipping template, and just like we did with Hawaii, you can remove each individual state, then add it back in to give it its own shipping rate. Also, if you're using USPS priority, just like we would, then just make sure to update the transit time to 1 to 3 days. And then once you're all done, you can go ahead and click save. Now, real quick, you will want to assign this shipping template to your products. And to do that, you just go back over to manage inventory. Back over the shipping template, go to manage inventory and click edit. And then right here under shipping template, go ahead and select the one that you just created. Now, when you have a customer who places an order, let's walk through the process of packaging and buying your shipping labels. So to do that over here, just head over to your orders and manage orders. And then right here under unshipped, you're gonna see when you need to ship it out by and when it needs to be delivered to the customer. So December 6th is when it needs to be delivered if we ship it out by December 4th. Again, the date today is December 1st, so we do have some time there. Now the process from here is to buy your shipping labels. And there's actually 2 ways you can do this. You can use this buy shipping option, which is buying your labels from Amazon. And basically just like Pirate Ship, they have pre-negotiated discounted rates with a lot of suppliers. So it's a really good option. And also one of the benefits of using Amazon's buy shipping is that they automatically provide the tracking number to the customer, which is what you need to do manually if you do this confirm shipping option. But that's the second way of buying your labels. So if you're gonna go through USPS or maybe like Pirate Ship and you find somebody else, then you just click confirm shipping and add the tracking details in later. But for this example, let's do buy shipping. And to be honest with you, you wanna actually compare this every time you get an order. So right here, the first thing you just need to do is, confirm your address. This is the ship by date. So I think we could actually ship this out today, but just maybe to be more practical, let's say we're gonna do it tomorrow. And then you have your label print orientation here. So I'm just gonna keep it at the default 4x6. Now right here, this is actually wrong. I'm gonna need to update this. I think we're at what, 12, 11, and 5. Click apply. Make sure your weight is correct. So ours was 2.85 and awesome, sweet. So we have these shipping prices right here and we can click in to see more of them. So let's say if we get it there December 5th, $6, I want it there a little bit quicker. December 4th is not that much of a difference. So I might actually use USPS ground in this example here. But again, we really want to compare and see if this is the best rate out there. We already know it's cheaper than USPS flat rate at $19, but let's go back to Pirate Ship and see if we can get a better deal. So here, I'm just gonna add the zip code of the buyer and click next, see shipping rates. And now let's come down here and see if we're cheaper than Amazon's buy shipping, which was $6.59 for UPS ground. Okay, so $6.98 for UPS ground saver, but over here, $7.04. This is the comparable shipping service with Pirate Ship. So at least in this example, shipping to this person, which is relatively close to us, this is gonna make more sense for us to use Amazon's buy shipping. And again, we get the added benefit of that automatic tracking being sent out to the customer. So for this, I'm happy with that. All we have to do now is if you need a confirmation, the signature, you can add it here. However, that does actually, looks like it's adding about $6 almost to your price. Now we don't need it for ours. And then here in declared value, this is for insurance. However, with most of the shipping carriers, they will give you $100 maximum insurance. So if your product is above $100, then you could add that here. However, for our product, we'll leave it empty and click buy shipping. So now this will let us print out the labels, cut it to size, attach it to the packaging, put the product in. But before we close the packaging, we do need to come back over to Amazon and print out this packaging slip here. So we'll print this out and then put it inside the product packaging as well. And then we can tape it up, make sure that label is all secure, and then hand it over to our shipping carrier. Now, if you're just getting started with fulfilling your own orders, I'd strongly recommend checking out our full guide to Amazon FBM. In this next video, you'll learn everything you need to know before getting started, including how to list your product and what to do when a customer returns your product. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope to see you in the next one.